Yeah, once again, I'm back. We're going to be a marathon here, but nevertheless, um, here's what it is. So, come back with a little bit early stuff today. Um, I just thought it was a good time to, you know, touch base and um, catch them in the afternoon for a change. I was on late last night, but you know, time is of the essence. So, when time is of the essence. You do what you have to do. Um, and pay attention to what you got to do. So, um, um, it is what it is. Like I said. It's always, paying attention to the scripts. I'm gonna have the judge on today. As a matter of fact, he's haven't had him on in a while, but he has some things going on. But he's going to talk about the governor's race in Virginia, black man who had plus plans to give reparations to illegal immigrants. So you can get the judge on what is it? We got barbecue sauce. Thank God he's got a lot of things he's also running from there. So real touch bases on all that when he comes on. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he can tell you more better than me. We got the election coming up in Virginia tomorrow, so that's gonna be interesting. Looks like it could be interesting dynamic. So we get to go to stores and we'll see what happens today. So we'll see what happens and everything should be okay. Yeah. That's how it goes. He should be on in a couple minutes. But otherwise, like I said, it's been a very interesting ride. And I don't know. I mean, otherwise, things have been interesting. Things have been off the chain as well. So we got Youngkin, McCullough. They send me a lot of emails too about this stuff. We've got man, wow. So much stuff been going on. I mean, we got protests of the world, mandates. We got the other people even out. Biden, climate change and stuff like that. So it's all theoretic to what's going on. It's all prophetic as well. So I think that we got to understand that these are inopportune times, and I think that people greetings, Steve Hollow Mac. And I think we've got to also understand that when it comes to this political situation, it goes and ties strictly into black men. I was reading an article yesterday about these 8 black women mayors are running the city, the districts around the country. But then I look at it in another context, that may not be actually a good thing for what's going on in the state of the country today. So when I look at it from the context, it's always not good on the home front. I look at the situation going on in proposal giving $450,000 to illegal immigrants. Well, me and Judge Bill Brown told you that you weren't getting that out of this administration anyway. So, he's technically right about what he said, and I'm right as well. So, with that being said, hey, Yada Yasha, good shit. And good afternoon, Dr. Boss as well. So, I just don't think that we really get it. But, me and Judge, sometimes we don't agree on some things, but we do agree on that black manhood is of the essence right now. And we also agree this political situation has not been good for us in the last couple months as far as getting mocked. And every time you look around, it's a slap in the face. So, man, rising as well. So, hey, man, I mean, it is what it is. But sometimes you have to, look up and say, wait a minute, man. I know that I can do better. What did I do to make myself better as a man, as a woman, as a child, as a father? It's always something that you can do better the next day. So, I'm just not sure. I mean, a lot of people not sure right now, like what they can do in their lives and stuff, and how they're gonna handle things. So, like I said, I look at it as very interesting. But in the end, they always say you're gonna win one way or the other. You can be a hero or you can be zero. A coward dies how many times? 1,000. A brave man only dies once. So, it's very interesting that on this Man Up Monday that I got to judge on one more time. So, very interesting. There's a lot of manning up, but there's also a lot of, you got some people got to woman up and get their life together as well. Because we are not having the best of times from the political situation, from the left or the right. But we surely have improved on the left as well. Let me see where he's at. Let's see where he's at. Let's see if I can get him up from. He should be on the first second, so I'm not sure. But nevertheless, so anybody have a thing about I've been looking at this fruit, the ship, the docks and the ports and stuff like that. I'm looking at a whole lot of other things, and I'm just saying, wow. If I really thought this stuff was gonna exist in like 8 years or whatever, I'm like, yo, this stuff is crazy that everything I've been saying over the last 2 years is starting to come to pass. And when you see the script, you know what the script is doing. But you can only win one way. And sad to say that it's a lot of things that I just wasn't expecting with the state of people. Like, if you would have told me that, in Virginia, I got a Soldiers to the Polls campaign and I got Al Sharpton coming to campaign for a casino, then wow. I mean, how the so-called mighty have fallen. When you learn, you lose some. So with that being said, let me see if I can pull up some articles on some things right quick while I wait on him. Yeah. Interesting. Let's see. Hey, Monique 2C, Dada Yashua, Doc Boss. Living life, loving life. 51, huh? Salute to the family. D1 East Oakland. Yes, thank you, sir. Salute to you as well. Let me see if I can get this article up in here. I guess they don't really like me too much. They always mess with my stream and stuff and all that stuff. I don't know, man. I guess they don't like me talking, man. Because it shouldn't take this long to pull up a simple article like this. This ain't even bad, man. This is actually a good article here. Touching the Rock Hall of Fame. It's an interesting article I was reading last night. I guess it's what Kwame Brown be talking about. Man. Hey, hold on. Come on here. I get you in. I see you in there, but I can't use some reason. I'm crazy. Hold on for a second, sir. All right. Wait a minute. I'll come back to this. How are you there?
Brother Johnson. I'm on.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
All right.
Yeah, how you?
Good.
Yeah, I had to switch to another device, man. I don't know that the clowns. I guess they're freezing me out again. But that's okay. How things going, Judge Joe Brown? How you been, sir?
Oh, I'll manage. Let me straighten this frame up here. Yeah.
All right, just waiting on the thing to come back in. Yeah, it looked like it's coming back. Yeah, so they say grand rising to you. It's probably like a grand rising because things have been a little bit crazy on the political scene lately. So I had to exit out one of them tabs. So
Turn your volume up a little bit, son.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're not coming in very loudly.
Okay, let me try to get the volume back up. Damn. No, the volume is up. Okay. Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. So first of all, let me start with you. You running for mayor of Memphis yourself, right? You running for mayor of Memphis?
Yes, 2003. I'm still getting low volume.
All right, let me try to click myself out. You know what? No, I ain't even gonna do that. I'll just do it from another device. Just hold tight, because I ain't got time. I ain't got time for these crazies to be doing this stuff. Just hold on. That's fine. All right. Okay, you read better?
That's much better.
Okay, good. Well, let me put it this way. I'm looking at it like this. I sent you the thing from what's his name? You wait a minute. I can't reach you. Let me put it this way. What's the guy named? Ralph Northam? And we got you running for mayor, right?
Yeah, Memphis.
Okay, yeah, you're running for mayor. So by you running for mayor, you got an interesting
You got completely went out on the sound.
Yeah. You got an interesting perspective of how you running for mayor. So when I look at you having a perspective how you running for mayor, you know, that's a very interesting proposition, but it shows us also the political diatribe what we got going on here. Like I'm telling you, like down here in Virginia, we got the governor's race going on, and you see all this stuff where they're saying that the guy could be a resurgence of Donald Trump. You hear all this nonsense. I'm like, what's the problem, man? Why
Donald Trump wasn't too bad for the people.
But they're saying now
folk, he had excess in a certain budget. He signed off on billions of dollars for historically black colleges and universities. And the idiot that everybody loved, who's in there now, just slashed $38 billion from the budget that was allocated to historically black colleges and universities. We certainly could have used that.
Well, now they're saying, you see the former governor here, Doug Wilder, even talked about that Kamala Harris has not fulfilled her obligations to what she said she was going to do. No, but like you said, she never would.
And Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution says president and vice president can be impeached and removed from office for 1, bribery, 2, treason, and 3, felonies. Well, it says high crimes. That's a felony. Felonies and misdemeanors in office, and what she's doing, violating the 501c3 rules relative to charitable organizations and churches, putting out that video that she's done and pushing it to be served up in churches and distributed by churches in homes. That's a clear violation. And they set the precedent against Trump for proceeding the second time against him when he was no longer in office. So, wow,
Okay, really that's crazy. Interesting. Now, I sent you some things about Al Sharpton coming here to endorse a casino, and you said a preacher endorsing gambling. Your thoughts?
Does he have a church? He's
I don't know.
supposed to
I
be
ain't
a
seen
preacher,
one.
isn't he? Is he something besides James Brown's bend over young stuff? The late James Brown?
You got that right, man. Well, I don't know, but I tell you this: I found invited him being conciliated. He's out here endorsing a church.
And
I mean,
a
endorsing a casino,
preacher
not a church.
endorsing gambling? My goodness.
So, on the other front, as far as you running for mayor, explain to us our political situation right now that we have for the most part.
First off, the Justice Department under Bush, Obama, Tang, and Trump declared that that's three different administrations, that there hasn't been a fair election in Memphis since 2000 because the voting machines are corrupted. I know Associated Press says that didn't happen, but they used them in the last election cycle. And now the hang up on spending the money that the Justice Department put up 13 years ago to replace the machines is that they don't want a paper trail that would allow an audit of the voting process. So that speaks for
Well, guess
itself.
what?
Legal term is res ipsa loquitur. The thing speaks for itself.
Well, guess what?
They've got
in Virginia
too
right
many
now.
crooked folk in politics. It becomes a way of boosting your income so you can get those little nice luxuries that you always wanted. Some. And the black folk here elect representatives who are surrogates for somebody else. All of the money goes to old line vested interest. They're into real estate acquisition, management, development, construction material supply. And what happens is the city council and the county commission, they give these zoning variances and then take tax dollars and give it to these developers who build stuff that they get to run. And in return, they're supposed to give the city 4 to 6% of their net profits. However, accountants always zero that out, so these folk get this stuff for free. They don't find themselves rich in doing this. They get rich because of what they're doing. And black small businessmen, white, black, brown, they don't get any money. Nobody middle class gets a damn thing. The people that get elected to represent the city and the county, they not always, but for the most part, they're just interested in self and their buddies. And then this thing, the Supreme Court reimposed, well, not reimposed, but restated again, was that corporations are fictional people. So under the 15th Amendment, you can't discriminate against them. So they can contribute to politics. And what happens around here is these corporate entities donate to the campaign funds of these elected folk that we have, and the elected folk convert it to their own usage. And if they pay taxes and declare it, they can do it. So sometimes they don't. And there's one woman hollering about they're discriminating against me. Well, no, you use tax dollars to put on a wedding, buy cars and other stuff like that. So yeah, they should get everybody that's crooked. We need to clean this up so we get representation.
Well, what do you think about that video I sent you with Kamala Harris stumping out in Norfolk, Virginia with Singer Pharrell and the guy, and she's saying, if you want to protect LGBTQ rights, I said, dang, she basically told you who she working for.
She did. I said that. I told you that long time ago. These folk are surrogates for LGBTQ. Now, I don't care what gays do in their bedrooms. That's their business. But a lot of gays don't even like LGBTQ. It's a cult. And any time you control the expenditure of tax dollars, social policy, school policy, general policy as determined by what legislative bodies do, and you function as a quasi official political party, then you're subject to pushback like any other political party. And the LGBTQ is poisonous for most of the people in this country.
Yeah,
They're doing
but
some
you can't
very
push back
bad
against.
things.
But they don't
Whether
want you to
you're
push
white,
back
black,
against.
brown, red, yellow, it doesn't make any difference. You're getting poisoned by these people who hate what they are, hate what they want to be, and in generally just deal with a vicious cycle of self-hate. And we don't need that perpetrated on the public. We've got enough problems. They're about the destruction of the traditional family, and that's with their alliance with the feminists who long ago said marriage and the traditional family are only forms of slavery for women, which is crazy. So that's what we're coping with. People who are against us. Therefore, the destruction of manhood, womanhood, and childhood.
Well, I gotta go into you on that, because now I was reading an article yesterday about 8 black women mayors who are across the country in some of the biggest cities in the United States. But unfortunately, the problem has not getting any better. But they made sure they highlighted 8 black women. Nothing wrong with a black woman running for office if she's doing the right thing. But some of these are in the worst segregated cities. So I got a little problem with this.
Yes,
Chicago,
everybody does.
Philadelphia, Chicago,
in other words,
St. Louis,
skin don't make kin.
New Orleans.
And the other thing is just because a person's black and female does not mean they're going to make a good mayor, a good chief of police, or anything else. That's not a good reason to vote for somebody. It can be the deciding reason if there are other factors involved, but you know, it's just played up and down, and too often, especially like in Chicago, the mayor there and elsewhere, they're just surrogates for LGBTQ, the cult. And one of the things that's driving the political scene today is too many elected officials on both sides of the aisle have dealt with that Q factor. According to the site, the Q stands for both queer and questioning. Too many of them questioned, tried it, and now they don't want to be outed from their closets.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. They didn't want to be outed from their
That's
closet.
one of the reasons politics looks like it does now. It doesn't make sense until you say, oh, these guys dabbled. You know, they did the 6 B's. Belt, unfasten, breeches, drop, boxers, drop, bend, butt cheeks, spread, bone, get bone. That's the 6 B's, and they don't want that coming out.
What, you got a 7th one?
6 B's. I don't have a 7th one.
Okay. Well, hey, is this why they up in those? Is that why they always say that, you know, we got representatives on both sides of the aisle? Interesting.
They do.
Well, so what's the so as man up Monday? Give me a little bit of man up advice. That I ain't actually give too much. Well, you can give some woman of advice too. You said last time, stop listening to BLM and they stop the little silly idiots.
Black lesbian mania. By the way, they put some of that stuff back up on their site that they took down. That what we believe they took down, where they said the first thing, we're for the destruction of the traditional nuclear family. We are for the destruction of cisgender privilege in the family. Cisgender just means somebody straight, man or woman. It's a German term. That's the new German word, cis, that came up to deal with heterosexual relationship descriptions in psychology about 100 years ago. Same thing with toxic masculinity. That's about 10, 15 years old in the American lexicon. 50 years ago, they started calling all masculinity toxic, and what they're talking about is the absence of it. Now, it's all kinds of screwed up stuff. This thing about pick your pronoun, like I told some little 9-year-old kid, look, boy, you are a boy, you look like it. And I don't care whether you like it or not. That's what I'm going to call you. I don't know what your pronoun is. I don't even know your name. So how in the devil am I going to remember your pronoun unless you're stupid enough to tattoo it on your forehead? And I'm still going to call you he, she, or it, because I'm not messing up the language. Like, you're not royalty, so I'm not going to use that royal plural. We are impressed. You know, they, them is, no, they is, no, they are, excuse me, and you're not plural, so forget it. And don't forget the Romance language. These idiots are trying to say instead of Latino, you should say Latinx. And then they got the buffoons running around with the space aliens and the flying saucers. They claim that black folk got brought over to America 250,000 years ago by aliens and flying saucers, and that there never was a slave trade, no slave ships or anything like that. The white man found the Aboriginal Americans to be black, so they enslaved them with the complicity of the late arriving, what we now used to call Indians.
I got a question right here.
That kind of fantasy is so much deep into self-hate that it's astonishing. The psychological implications are very bad.
Can you hear me? Oh, I got a question for you. Why is what is it?
Speak up, son. Your voice went down.
Why is black manhood under assault?
You said something about black manhood. Why?
Why is it under assault? Under assault.
Well, we are the guinea pigs for the country, and manhood generally has been under assault throughout the country by the movement that came about 55 years ago. There was a coalition between lesbians, feminists, soy boys who couldn't make it as white men, even though they were white men. They were the nerds. And you had the gay component added in on that. Then you got the anti-war crowd that determined that war was a man thing, so to stop war, get rid of traditional manhood. They set up a coalition, and you had the trannies jump in there, the cross-dressers with the clothing fetishes. And then you had an expansion on the trannies for those who couldn't make it whatever and they wanted to be sweetmeats. So every city had trannies going around. But, I mean, it was something that girls would go see on girls' night out at the strip clubs or the bars. But now they're trying to mainstream it, and they're probably doing themselves a disservice because the feminists screeched and hollered about 40 some years ago about how unfair it was for boys to get free rides in colleges because they played sports. What about the women, the girls? So when they got girls' sports normalized, now they have these failed boy athletes who try to come in and take over the girls' sports by saying that they are girls, and that's wrong. One of these real girls is going to get put in a coma or really jacked up or killed, and that's not fair, and a lot of them have been hurt already. So I suspect the feminists are going to squawk when the true implications of that come out. Some say they need a trans league. No. If you can't make the varsity, you just sit your ass in the bleachers and cheer like everybody else. And I don't mean put on some little short cheerleading skirt and get out and act like you're one of the girls down there either.
Well, that's very interesting. Well, that's very interesting, Judge. You know what I look at it, though, in a better context? I look at it like we under assault because some of us put ourselves under assault, you know, putting on dresses and stuff. How you like that? Why are we getting on Dave Chappelle? Why are people getting on Dave Chappelle for? What's the deal?
Well, there are mental health issues that abound in the population.
It's a mental health issue.
And by the way, that's another thing they've done. Half of this furor over COVID-19 has to do with the general ignorance of the population in terms of science and medical matters that weren't the case 50 years ago. But for 50 years, the LGBTQ and their predecessors have been engaging in an effort to discredit science and medical matters so that they can get people to accept this fluid gender. Now, as I get it, about 4.5% of the medical population, who seemingly consist of practitioners of the LGBTQ, etc., the alphabet bunches practices, they push it, and the other 95% of the medical profession thinks it's crazy, but they're afraid to speak out.
Why do we have that many people in the medical profession like that? Why do we have LGBTQ?
Speak up, son. I can't hear you.
Why do we have LGBTQ in all these professions?
Because 55 years ago, they developed a plan. They were going to infiltrate these particular fields. They aimed specifically at mass communications, movies, television, news, newspapers, periodicals. And when you insinuate yourself into the means of communication, Hitler and the Nazis perfected that. You know, tell a lie long enough, loud enough, you can get anybody to believe it. If you want to deal with one very effective tactic based on that premises, get the majority to think they're the minority. Get the majority to think that everybody else, which basically is a small minority in reality, speaks for them. That's how you do it. Flip the script, accuse the other side of doing what you're doing.
Okay, now I got another question to ask you. I know you say you got some things to do today. So what do you think about this $450,000 thing, proposal of reparations to illegal immigrants?
It's obscene.
It's obscene.
You know, a lot of the violence you see out in the street is because for the last 3.5 years, they've been CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, mainstream news media has been smiling at folk going out and breaking the law and getting unruly and violent in the streets. That has had a negative impact on the psyches of a lot of people. In other words, everybody else is doing it, why not me? So that hurts. And when you hear this, you show what? You endorse from the highest levels a financial reward for breaking the law. Now, you saw this thing where Panama weeded out a whole bunch of known Al-Qaeda operatives who were moving up through Panama with this caravan to go get to the border so they can get in. They've already identified a lot of known drug dealers and traders and some other people that are rapists and sex abusers and everything else, but they're just coming into the country. And the $450,000 per person is only being talked about, but actually being implemented is essentially $250,000 in upkeep per family of 4 of illegals who are being put up in hotels, fed, getting medical treatment that American citizens can't afford to get. So that is a fact right there. That's actually implemented, the $450,000 per person. I mean, that is an astronomical amount for getting detained for breaking the law. How about everybody that's been stopped by the police getting that amount, or detained or locked up overnight? And there is an interesting thing about employment law under Title VII. 50-some years ago, the United States Supreme Court declared that you cannot ask someone whether they've been arrested on a job application. You can only ask if they've been convicted unless you have a high level of justification for asking, have you been arrested? And the reason, back 50 some years ago, 1970 to be more specific, it was found that statistically it's impossible to be a black male in the United States of America and reach 25 without having been arrested at least one time for no reason.
I remember that.
So how about that? We still don't look at anything. Now, reparations, that's what you could call it. Frankly, I'd like it. I mean, there's a vacation I could take, a car I could put a down payment on, or pay down the mortgage, but I could do better than that if I won a big lottery. But whether I'd like either one of them, I would be rather foolish to depend on winning big lottery and saying everything will be all right if I just win the big lottery. Everything will be all right if we just get the check, cut the check. Well, it would be nice if they did, but it's foolish to depend on it because make yourself aware how that would have to happen. Congress, that's the House and the Senate, would have to pass an Appropriations and Enablement Act. That's a law. The president, if he says he can give reparations, is lying through his teeth because constitutionally he doesn't have the authority unless the Congress has already appropriated the money, and he's got the discretionary authority to do something with it. That has to be written into law. Laws are what Congress passes. There are two chambers to Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And by the way, the big fuss about getting all of these illegals in is not so they can vote for the Democratic Party, but so they can be counted in the next census. And under Article 1 of the Constitution, it says the primary purpose of the census is to apportion representatives in the House of Representatives. So these people would be counted, and that would keep California, New York, and a few other places from losing seats in the House of Representatives. They wouldn't be able to vote, but they would be counted, so people who are already there and tending to be far left liberal, they would be able to control the country. Now, this last census they had, I've had 5 of them I had to answer as an adult during my lifetime. This is the first and only one where they did not ask if you were a citizen. Why? So that could not be determined, and those people could not be excluded in the count of adding to the number of folk that would be counted for purposes of apportioning Congress. Well, not Congress, but representatives. By the way, senators are congressmen too, but they didn't get stated as such for a long time because until fairly recently, you could not vote on a senator. They were appointed by the state legislative body and approved by the governor. So you could only vote for representatives in the House. By the way, that goes to the same sort of thing that has that 3/5 bit. The Constitution doesn't say slaves are 3/5 of a person. That was something that H. Rap Brown and then Stokely Carmichael came up with way back in the mid-60s. What it says is for purposes of apportioning representation in the House of Representatives, 3/5 of all of those held in involuntary servitude or slavery shall be counted toward this number.
Well, that's
And
very
by the
interesting.
way, there are 7 U.S. presidents, including Barack Obama and the Bushes. One U.S. vice president, Dick Cheney, And several billionaires, including Warren Buffett and the actor Brad Pitt, who were descended from a white guy who was held in involuntary servitude. He was a Huguenot, a Protestant from France, and he indentured himself for a term of years to get free transportation to the New World to escape religious persecution.
They're asking, are they claiming asylum in a lawsuit supposedly under Trump administration separation from kids? Are they claiming
That's
asylum?
not anything Trump did. He just followed the law. The president of the United States is the chief executive officer of the country. It's his responsibility to administer the laws passed by Congress. And it's the responsibility of the third branch of government, the judiciary, to adjudicate the application of the law. So he took an oath to support and follow the law, and that's what the law required that he do.
Got another thing. None of these groups filed lawsuits for us. The NAACP filed a lawsuit against the state of Texas about voting. They told it
that's because they want more people packed into Texas so that Texas will have more clout in the House of Representatives. Same thing with California, New York, New Jersey, and Illinois.
Well,
it has nothing to do with benevolence. And remember, these people won't be able to vote for the most part.
Well, I got one more
and
thing.
They don't care. See, a lot of people don't think things through. They get stuck on this thing by any means necessary, and they don't think it through. Like when Johnson's administration pushed through Congress laws that established the safety net, nobody envisioned that 50 some years later it would have proved extreme poison, because it didn't just limit itself to helping those who really needed the help. It provided a new environment, a new landscape for those females, white, black, brown, red, yellow, who didn't want to work and just had babies to get a bigger check, and parcel the babies out to the grandparent on the father's side or her own side.
Okay, so that's part of like that movie Claudine. They say, what did that movie Claudine the guy showed? They showed the script in there. You might not remember the movie, but
yeah, and the other downside of it is it helped destroy families because it drove the fathers out.
What do you think about the movie Superfly?
Into the rearing of their children, but social workers shut down the street with a pair of binoculars and carefully recorded who would go in and out of these apartments in the projects or subsidized housing. And 50 years ago, when I first started as a lawyer, number one case with the legal services program I was with was getting the check cut back on after the department cut it off because some guy went by there to pay attention to the child he had with this woman.
Well, my buddy said that he's going to call the CBC out on his channel, call the Congressional Black Caucus out. What do you think?
I'm having trouble hearing you, son. Speak up.
I said that my buddy said he wants to call the Congressional Black Caucus out on his channel. Call him out? Congressional
Black Caucus acts as a surrogate battery for LGBTQ. IA plus or LGBTQ BLM IA plus.
Hey, look at this comment, Judge. Superfly told you to sniff coke and sell it. Life was so good. Why sniff coke? Superfly, the movie. What do you think?
See, there's another thing too. The science involved. At the time Superfly came around, the medical opinion was that cocaine was non-addictive. You couldn't get sprung on it. It was a drug of choice, and it was very expensive, and only the well-to-do could afford it. If you remember, but there were problems. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that formula that Dr. Jekyll was drinking and turned him into Mr. Hyde, it was cocaine. Queen Victoria dabbled with cocaine. King George V dabbled with cocaine. Arthur Conan Doyle, who was a physician, who was also a detective, and he wrote about himself in a schizophrenic way. He was Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. He dabbled in cocaine. And when Sherlock Holmes got bored, he snorted cocaine. So it was a popular drug that was supposed to be non-addictive, and they decided to spread it into the black community, and it went south because it did have some problems. Now, I want to say something about that. We suffer from the sci-fi syndrome, science fiction. And for years and years, one of the things that's come up in sci-fi is this. If the aliens really landed, would we be able to tell the ordinary population, or would they just freak out? So we can't tell them the truth because they can't handle it. I have a sneaking suspicion that that's one of the reasons there's so much hell out there between the vaxxers and the anti-vaxxers right now, is because when COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 hit, they did the sci-fi thing. They didn't come clean with the public. And what they should have revealed was, hey, we don't know. This is something brand new. It's scaring the hell out of us. And we're trying to find out what we can as fast as we can, but we really don't know. So hang on, you may all go extinct, or we may come up with a cure or a preventative. We don't know. But now they had to go try to reassure the damn public. And what happens is when it develops, what they don't know clashes with what little they're finding out, nobody trusts them. And meanwhile, LGBTQ has been trying to destroy confidence in science and medicine so they can get fools to accept this fluid gender bull. It's a nasty mix.
They're illegals are the aliens, but that's another story. But look, I know you got to run. Look, give me a couple of things to take away. I want to just bring up one thing.
Speak up.
I got to run. I said I got to run at 1, and you said you had to do something. So just talk about your
I've got a political supporter that wants to take me to lunch and talk.
Okay. Well, look, I just want you to bring up before we go, because I know you got to run, about this JJB barbecue sauce. Bring it up right quick. Just talk about it right quick.
Oh, yes. I decided to branch out. Go to www.jjbbbq.com and order some of my product. We've got barbecue seasoning, several kinds of sauce. We're getting ready to push some barbecue chicken links. We'll have some with this near meat for vegans who want to taste. And there are a few other things. There will be some cookers and things like that will be patented. They'll be new, so you don't have to worry about burning the meat or whatever you put on to barbecue up. It's good with lamb, goat, cow. Those who still eat it like pig, that's pig too. So chicken, turkey, you name it, it's good stuff. And I guarantee you it will be the best damn barbecue sauce you ever tried that you didn't make up yourself.
And it's in California, right?
BBQ
it's in California, right?
Stands for Judge Joe Brown Barbecue. That's easy enough to remember. Judge Joe Brown Barbecue. It will be in stores second or third or fourth month of the year at some of the major grocery stores. We're getting the shipping, bottling, labeling, and so forth worked out. We use healthy ingredients in it. So those of you who are into food fetish stuff, don't worry about it. You won't hurt yourself. Just sharpen up your taste buds. And I have decreed in my judgment it's good stuff. So it's time for you to be the judge and see if it stacks up as advertised. I assure you it's great stuff. Order the 3-pack. It's most economical with the shipping options that we have to deal with in certain parts of the country right now.
Well, I want
JJB, BBQ, Judge Joe Brown, barbecue.
well, look, sir. Listen. Sorry about the computer issues, everybody. I don't know what was going on with the volume, but I know you say you got goals. So we want to wish you good luck on your run for mayor, which is 2023, and we're going to continue this another time, like I told you before. So, I said I need to do it early because I got to make some runs, but I just want you to take your time and have a great day. So,
And
have
I'm
a
the
good luck.
iconoclastic folk person. I mean, that a lot of folk don't like to hear on Twitter at Judge Joe Brown TV. Some folk think it's not me, but it is. And I've always been like this. And I might not tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what I think you need to hear. Now,
That's right. Well, thank you,
I'm
sir,
out
for
of here.
coming on.
Judge
Hi,
Joe
now.
on the go. Do it.
All right. Take your time.